And now for the moment many people have been waiting for. Caitlin Clark has dropped her signature logo for her product line.
Well, the new Caitlin Clark Nike's signature logo has been released.
So it's finally here. It's finally here. The Caitlin Clark logo. This is 1,000,000 times better than the A'ja Wilson logo.
Radio live on WNIK, and as usual, we're talking about Caitlin Clark.
The WNBA is in absolute chaos right now. Nike finally unveiled Caitlin Clark's logo, and it's sending shockwaves across the entire league. In an instant, the reveal broke the internet. Nike's website couldn't handle the traffic, crashing within minutes. Fans scrambled for pre-orders that sold out almost instantly, while executives in Beaverton were celebrating like they just won a championship. What should have been a straightforward logo drop turned into one of the wildest merchandising frenzies in sports history. Jerseys vanished, t-shirts disappeared, even the resale market went insane, with Clark's gear already flipping for triple the retail price. But while Nike and Caitlin Clark's fans were popping champagne, not everyone was raising a toast. Behind closed doors, seasoned players who've spent years chasing recognition were left stunned. How could a second-year star generate this kind of storm, while multiple MVPs and league champions have struggled just to land a shoe deal? And that's where things shift from excitement to tension, from celebration to controversy. The hype is real, but so is the envy, and this drama is only just getting started.
Just happened a few minutes ago, and it was a long time in the waiting. Many fans were wondering where Nike has been with any Caitlin Clark merchandise whatsoever, but developing a signature logo.
On August 25th, 2025, Nike lifted the veil on Caitlin Clark's brand new signature logo, and what unfolded felt far more like a cultural moment than a simple product launch. At first glance, the design was deceptively minimalist, two interlocking C's forming a sleek modern emblem, but the meaning ran much deeper. Nike explained that the smaller C nested inside the larger one symbolized Clark's game being built from the inside out, reflecting her expanding range and unstoppable growth. This wasn't just a logo, it was a bold statement of identity. The response was instant and explosive. Within minutes, Nike's servers were overwhelmed by demand. Fans rushed to grab $40 cotton tees featuring the new emblem, and by day's end, millions of pre-orders had poured in. Even the limited edition navy and yellow releases set to drop September 1st sold out before they even hit the shelves. Social media turned into a frenzy of screenshots showing crashed checkouts, out-of-stock alerts, and resale prices climbing exponentially by the hour. For Nike, it was a dream come true. Executives toasted the rollout as if they'd just claimed a championship, watching Clark's merchandise fly off the virtual shelves faster than anything the WNBA had ever seen. One tagline summed it up perfectly: Caitlin Clark's logo draws you in like her game. And clearly fans agreed. Clark had rewritten the WNBA merchandise rulebook in a single afternoon. But beneath the excitement, one question lingered: who isn't getting this kind of treatment? And that's where the story turns from celebration to controversy.
But the logo is officially revealed, and I don't hate it. Like, it is what it is. It's a logo. I think $40 for these t-shirts is scandalous. I think they're absolutely scandalous. Like, especially when for $14.99.
If anyone in the WNBA deserves to feel untouchable, it's A'ja Wilson. 3 MVP awards, 2 championships, and an Olympic gold medal. Her resume is as bulletproof as it gets. She's been the league's cornerstone for years, the kind of dominant star who consistently delivers on the court while carrying herself like the face of the sport. In May 2025, Nike finally gave her what she'd long earned, her own signature shoe, the A1. Fans showed up in droves, and every pair sold out in just 5 minutes. For a moment, it seemed Wilson had finally claimed her spotlight, but 3 months later, Caitlin Clark entered the picture, and suddenly, 5 minutes felt like an eternity. Clark's merchandise didn't just sell out quickly, it disappeared in seconds. Website crashes, resale prices tripling, national headlines everywhere. What was supposed to be Wilson's year suddenly felt swallowed by a second-year guard who had spent much of the season sidelined. Then an old quote of Wilson's resurfaced and hit harder than ever: "It doesn't doesn't matter what black women do in sports, they still get swept under the rug. She had said it back in 2024 when Clark's first Nike deal was announced. Now those words echoed across the entire league. For Wilson, it must have felt like deja vu. Dominate the game, win every title, and still watch the spotlight shift to someone else. Publicly, she stayed diplomatic. Privately, sources close to the Las Vegas Aces said her reaction to Clark's logo numbers was priceless. Not shock, but a pure kind of disbelief, the kind that hits when reality slaps you in the face. And she wasn't alone. Across the league, locker rooms buzzed with chatter, the rivalry and tension palpable.
A statement that says, Caitlin's signature logo pulls you in like her game. It features interlocking C's. Her mark is emblematic of ever-expanding range on the court. Celebrate her logo debut with this soft cotton logo.
Lit up.
A'ja Wilson may have felt the sting the most, but she was far from alone. Across the WNBA, veterans and rising stars alike watched Caitlin Clark's logo launch with a mix of shock, envy, and disbelief. These are athletes who've spent years grinding, racking up championships, putting in countless hours, and building the very foundation of the league, only to see a second-year guard overshadow them in a single afternoon. Take Angel Reese, for instance. She had just signed a major deal with Reebok, set to release her first signature shoe, the Angel Reese one, in September 2025. Reebok had invested heavily, betting she could become the next marketing face of women's basketball. But after Clark's logo reveal, insiders say the mood at Reebok shifted. How do you compete with merchandise that sells out before fans can even hit buy? Reese herself had to be asking the same question. Then there's Sabrina Ionescu, already a Nike athlete with her own shoe line. Even she was taken aback by how fast Clark's gear vanished. Her sales had been solid, respectable even, but nothing compared to the tidal wave that was Clark. Even Breanna Stewart, a two-time MVP and Puma's marquee athlete, suddenly faced a new challenge. Puma isn't Nike, and watching Clark's numbers skyrocket must have raised serious concerns about whether her brand could keep pace. The atmosphere across WNBA locker rooms was tense. Quiet whispers spread, group chats buzzed, and resentment simmered just beneath the surface. Caitlin Clark hadn't just dropped a logo, she'd unleashed a storm of envy and rivalry that threatened to shake the league from the inside out. But the real pressure? It wasn't online. It was in the boardrooms at Nike, where executives were calculating exactly how to ride this unprecedented wave.
Caitlin for three right here. Nike better plaster Caitlin Clark's logo across America and across the world. They nailed it on the design, stick the landing on the rollout and the merchandise. Right here. Looks like they're hanging a banner for it right there. That's pretty cool.
And as I already mentioned, the statement says that the two interwoven C's reflect Caitlin's connection with the fans around the globe, and the smaller hidden C represents how Caitlin's game was built from the inside.
For Nike, Caitlin Clark wasn't just a rising star. She was the lifeline the company desperately needed. By mid-2025, Nike's stock had slid from a high of $168 down into the $78 to $79 range, sending ripples of concern through investors. The board demanded answers, and executives knew they needed a cultural spark, someone who could move products on a scale the WNBA had never seen. Clark, with her record-breaking college career and instant celebrity status, fit the bill perfectly. Behind closed doors, intense debates raged for months. Should Nike go all in on A'ja Wilson, the league's established MVP, or take a gamble on Clark, a player who had barely completed a full professional season? On paper, Wilson was the safe choice. She had the accolades, the respect, the championships. But Nike wasn't just after credibility, they were chasing sales and cultural impact. Every piece of market research pointed to Clark's crossover appeal, drawing fans who didn't even watch basketball. The strategy was almost ruthless in its precision. Launch Wilson's A1 shoe first in May 2025, a long overdue nod to her dominance. Then, just a few months later, unveil Clark's logo in August and unleash the full marketing machine. Internally, it was presented as balance. In reality, it was masterful appeasement. Give Wilson a taste, then let Clark dominate the table. And it worked exactly as planned. Wilson's shoe launch was a success, but Clark's logo became a global phenomenon, breaking records and flooding headlines. For executives under immense pressure, the gamble paid off brilliantly. But when the strategy became public knowledge, Wilson didn't see it as business. It felt personal.
It's noise that I don't really listen to, honestly, because I'm in season. I have other things that we need to worry about than what other people have to say. I have a scout, I have 11 other minds on my team in my locker room that we got to make sure that we're on the same mindset. So I really can't give you the best answer on that because I really don't pay any attention to it. My goal is just to go out there and be the best that I can be for my teammates, both on and off the court, and we're going to go out there and be.
By summer 2025, Nike wasn't just selling sneakers, they were fighting for survival. Their stock had tumbled from $168 to barely $78 to $79, hitting a near 10-year low. Investors were on edge. Analysts were questioning leadership. The brand needed a lightning strike, and they found it in Caitlin Clark. But Clark was more than a basketball player. She was a billion-dollar opportunity, a cultural phenomenon ready to transform Nike's struggling bottom line. Inside corporate headquarters, debates raged. Should they double down on Wnba Wilson, the league's proven MVP loaded with rings, or gamble everything on Clark, a second-year guard whose fame stretched far beyond the court? Traditionalists pushed for Wilson. Her accomplishments were unmatched, and she had carried the league for years. But the marketing team had a different story. Every focus group, every metric, every trend pointed to Clark as the player who could move culture, sell out merchandise, and reset Nike's narrative. The compromise was strategic and ruthless. In May, Nike launched Wilson's long-awaited A1 shoe, honoring her dominance and quieting critics. But behind the scenes, executives were already preparing the main event, Clark's logo reveal. August would be the nuclear option, a global marketing blitz designed to rewrite the story for both Nike and the WNBA. When it hit, the gamble paid off perfectly. Wilson's shoe received praise, but Clark's logo became a cultural earthquake. Sales shattered records. Wall Street exhaled. Nike's boardroom celebrated. And for Wilson, the impact was personal. What executives called strategy, she saw as more than business. It felt like a spotlight stolen overnight.
Real WNBA players. Asia Wilson. I'm going 1.
I'm going to put Asia 2. I'm holding my 1 spot.
Kelsey Plum.
I'm going to put her 4.
I think I'll go 4 too.
Brianna Stewart.
Bree, she's going 2.
I'm really scared of who's left, though. That's my only issue. Okay, let's put Brianna 3.
Caitlin Clark.
That's gonna be your 1?
I have to put her 1.
She hasn't played a minute.
I know she hasn't.
She hasn't played a minute.
I know she hasn't, but these teams have never sold out their season tickets ever in the history of the W.
The real fallout from Nike's gamble wasn't just reflected in press releases or quarterly earnings. It played out in the locker rooms. When the Indiana Fever squared off against the Las Vegas Aces, the atmosphere was icy. Sources described warm-ups that felt more like standoffs than practice drills. Wnba Wilson barely glanced at Caitlin Clark, her focus locked entirely on her own routine. No handshakes, no small talk, just business. For veterans who had poured years into the league, Clark's meteoric rise wasn't just buzz. It was a constant reminder that even a career of dominance could be overshadowed in an instant. That tension spilled into player rankings too. When athletes were asked to list the league's top guards, Clark, who had shattered fan vote records with over 1.2 million ballots, wasn't near the top. Some ranked her as low as 9th, despite her dominating nearly every national marketing campaign. The message was unmistakable. Fans might have crowned Clark, but locker room respect still had to be earned. It was the ultimate disconnect. On one side, Clark was the runaway favorite, driving ticket sales, TV ratings, and merchandise numbers no other player could touch. On the other, her peers saw her as a flashy newcomer who hadn't paid her dues. That divide created a quiet, simmering cold war every time she stepped onto the court. Yet, if the numbers tell the truth, Clark's impact was undeniable.
People understand, they just being stupid. It's not.
Asia Wilson she doesn't have the kind of aesthetic game that's gonna resonate. Like all of y'all talking about Asia get a shoe deal. Are you gonna buy those shoes? Stop being full of shit. No, you're not.
If anyone needed proof that Caitlin Clark had completely reshaped the economics of the WNBA, the numbers spoke louder than any headline ever could. According to Fanatics, overall league merchandise sales skyrocketed over 500% in 2024, while player-specific gear surged an astonishing 1,000%. At the center of that explosion was one name, Caitlin Clark. Her Indiana Fever jersey didn't just break records, it outsold the entire Dallas Cowboys merchandise line in 2024. Think about that. America's most valuable sports franchise, the legendary America's Team, was beaten in sales by a single rookie in the WNBA. No gimmicks, no marketing tricks, just pure unrelenting demand driven by Clark's star power. The resale market told the same story. When Clark laced up the Kobe 5 Pro in July, pairs vanished instantly and reappeared online for up to $642, more than triple the retail price. Every piece of her merchandise, from tees to sneakers, turned to gold the moment and it hit shelves. The contrast with the rest of the league was staggering. While the average WNBA salary hovered around $120,000, Clark's Nike endorsement deal was worth an eye-popping $28 million. In just a few days, she earned more from Nike than most players will see in an entire season, or even a career. The gap wasn't just wide, it was astronomical. For teammates, rivals, and corporate partners alike, the math was undeniable. Caitlin Clark wasn't just dominating on the court, she was redefining the financial ceiling of the WNBA. And as 2026 approaches, players across the league are bracing for what's next.
TV ratings are up 300% since Caitlin Clark entered the league. Her games averaged 1.2 million viewers. Her return game peaked at 2.8 million viewers on ABC, one of the highest ever. This is in the middle of a random game in the season. She's featured nearly half of the most watched WNBA games, period. And I would argue that she brought a lot of attention to the league in and of itself, not just her. Clark is responsible for 26% of all WNBA economic activity. She's expected to help drive $875 million to $1 billion in 2025.
As massive as Caitlin Clark's logo reveal was, insiders say it was just the opening act. The real storm is coming in 2026 when Nike plans to drop her first full signature sneaker line. If a $40 cotton tee could crash servers and rack up millions in pre-orders, imagine the frenzy when Clark's shoes finally hit the market. The league knows it, Nike knows it, and behind the scenes, whispers have already turned into outright fear. Veteran players worry this launch won't just dominate headlines. It could overshadow every other star in the league. They've watched A'ja Wilson's A1, Angel Reese's upcoming Reebok, and Brianna Stewart's Pumas get drowned out by Clark's logo wave. Add a full sneaker line into the mix, and the imbalance could become irreversible. The WNBA Players Association has long raised concerns about marketing equality, but Clark's meteoric rise has thrown those debates into harsh focus. Is it healthy for one player to command nearly all the attention, endorsements, and fanfare? Or is the league at risk of becoming a one-woman show where everyone else plays in the shadows? Agents are already warning clients to brace for smaller deals, fewer opportunities, and tougher negotiations as brands funnel resources into Clark's orbit. For Clark, it's a dream come true. For everyone else, it feels like a nightmare. The question isn't whether her shoe will sell, it's how much collateral damage it will leave behind. Beyond jealousy, there's a deeper concern. What if Clark is changing the DNA of the league itself? By now, the numbers surrounding her are nothing short of historic. Analysts estimate she was responsible for over 26% of the WNBA's entire economic activity in 2025. One player carrying more than a quarter of the league's financial ecosystem. No rookie in any sport has ever wielded that kind of influence. TV ratings tell the same story. When Clark returned from injury on June 14th, over 2.8 million viewers tuned in, making it the third most watched WNBA game ever. At its peak, nearly 3 million people were watching, numbers usually reserved for NBA playoff games. And this wasn't a championship or rivalry matchup. It was an ordinary mid-season game, elevated solely by her presence. That kind of impact raises a hard question. Are fans buying into women's basketball, or are they buying into Caitlin Clark? The distinction matters. If the surge depends on a single player, what happens when she's sidelined, or when her career eventually winds down? Veteran players are already concerned that the league's culture could shift, with younger athletes chasing brand appeal over championships. Shoe deals, logos, and marketing contracts might start outweighing rings, transforming the WNBA from a competition of teams into a marketplace of personalities. Clark's marketability is undeniable. She's broken barriers, opened doors, and drawn fans who never cared about the league before. But her dominance has tilted the balance in ways the WNBA has never faced. That's the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to admit. Caitlin Clark hasn't just entered the league, she's reshaped it. From record-breaking jersey sales to the looming chaos of her 2026 sneaker launch, the league's center of gravity now rests on her shoulders. What should be a celebration of women's basketball has instead exposed fault lines, jealousy between veterans and newcomers, icy locker rooms where respect is questioned, and endorsement wars that pit teammates against one another. Clark's rise is both an opportunity and a threat. On one side, she's brought millions of new eyes, dollars, and headlines to a league long fighting for attention. On the other, her meteoric success has created a gap so wide that even MVPs and champions feel overlooked. For Aja Wilson, Angel Reese, Brianna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, and countless others, the question isn't whether Clark deserves her fame, it's whether the WNBA can survive it. Nike made its bet, sponsors followed, fans voted with their wallets, and the league itself, willingly or not, has been reshaped around one name. As much as players may resent it, the reality is clear. Clark isn't just playing basketball, she's steering its future. The drama over logos and sneakers is only the beginning. The real test will come as Clark's career unfolds and the question lingers. Will the WNBA evolve with her or fracture under the weight of her influence? On the court, Aja Wilson may be the MVP, but at the cash register, Caitlin Clark reigns supreme. And that has the entire league asking, is this still basketball or has it become something bigger?